Welcome, everybody, to another episode of The Hangout. I am your host, CEO, and owner of Two Sides of the Story Productions, Poetry. And on this episode of The Hangout, I have my VP, my one of the co-hosts of His and Hers, and The Refresh. Also, my wonderful wife, Dulce Diva. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm good.
All right, so today on this episode of The Hangout, we will be talking Netflix's Jessica Jones. Of course, Jessica Jones is the newest addition to the Netflix Marvel TV series. They are preparing for the big meetup, which is Defenders. So they're getting everybody in line, and they've released Jessica Jones. Now, me and my wife, we've both gone through the full season of Jessica Jones, and I just want to give a little backstory. Before we do that,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert. If you haven't guessed already, there we will be talking about certain stuff that will be going in there. We will try our best not to go into too much of it, but there are certain stuff you just can't get around without talking about. So at this point in time, if you do not want to hear any spoilers because you have not checked it out yet, and you should definitely check it out, but if you want to step away, here's your time. I'll see you next week on the Hangout. For everybody that's staying, let's get into it. So Jessica Jones, like I said, is the newest addition to the Netflix family. It is originally a comic book from Alias. Michael Bendis wrote it, and it's more of an adult themed comic book story. They didn't have too many of them, but this one was particularly interesting. Jessica Jones is a reformed superhero. And I know when you hear that, it kind of is like reformed superhero. It's a reformed superhero. She was a superhero at one point, and she stopped being a superhero. She still has her powers. She just said, "Fuck it, I'm not being a superhero anymore," and she started doing private investigating. Um,
Which she's really good at.
she's pretty good at it, but there's reasons why she stopped being a superhero. One of the reasons, and we might as well just put it out there, which is why we said spoilers, the main villain in this season, and I'm only saying this season because, of course, there isn't another season, but in this season is Kilgrave. If you're unfamiliar with the comics, Kilgrave is a low-level Marvel villain. He's not your typical Thanos, I want to take over the galaxy villain.
He's a creep.
He's a creep. Yeah, he's a creep.
He's a creep.
He's a creep. He's a creep that has the power to control anyone with a combination of pheromones slash virus that he emits, and he's able to tell them whatever, and they listen, no matter what. So she came around him, and he was instantly enamored, and he held her captive for months. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but it was a long time.
It was about 8 months.
It was about 8. Yes, I felt like it was like 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
It was.
If I remember correctly, she said it was about 8 months.
Yeah. So she was under his control, at his beck and whim. Made her do unspeakable things, and she didn't speak much of it, obviously. But the tipping point was when he made her kill this woman that had information that he was looking for. And she broke out of it, and she left. And it kind of plays off months later after that. But that's why she stopped being a superhero, because she
Was basically mind controlled.
mind controlled, and she felt like her powers were more trouble than they were helpful.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe
Yeah.
it. So throughout the series, this is her biggest battle. It's not her. It's not her battle with Kilgrave. Honestly, I felt like throughout the series, it was always a battle with herself. It always came off as, is it, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing what's necessary? Am I capable of being this hero that everyone claims they know I can be. It's just that inner battle, which is why I love this series.
Mm-hmm.
It's You don't see too many heroes. She's a flawed hero in the specific sense of the word. She's a flawed hero. She's fallen from grace with not only with people but within herself, and she's just trying to work her way back up to a point where she feels she can do what she needs to do. The whole series is filled with characters that are so multifaceted, multi-dimensioned.
Yeah.
They're not always exactly what you see. For example, her best friend slash sister, Hope. It's Hope, right? I want to know it's Trish.
Trish.
Trish. I Hope is somebody else. I'm not going to get into that because that's a huge spoiler. But Trish, she's a talk show host, and when you see her, it's like she's a talk show host. She's smart. She's pretty. She's the classic damsel in distress type. And then you see her doing McGrath Kagav, or however you pronounce it, that Russian martial arts wrestling shit. You see her doing that, and it's like, whoa, didn't see that one coming.
Especially because she's kind of got a small frame. She looks like she doesn't look like she's that tall,
right?
But she's also very thin, very lean. I think the best way for me to describe it is like a dancer's body.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And so when she first does it, it's like, well, damn, I wasn't expecting that.
And she gets into it, and she even gets into a action fight scene, and she holds her own. She really holds her own. So again, they're multifaceted. And then Malcolm, that's his name, right?
The neighbor.
Yeah, the neighbor, yeah. Malcolm. His story, you won't expect it. You might expect it, but you really won't expect it. I don't want to ruin that one either, because that was a
very interesting story.
That was a very interesting story, and I don't want to ruin that because it's good.
Yeah, it's
real good. But all of these characters are multi-layered, multifaceted, multi-dimensional, and they work so well together. I don't think I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you know some, a cast that just played off each other so well. No, you didn't feel like anyone was overstepping or overpowering the other
anybody
person.
Else. Yeah, they work very well together. The cast that they picked. It's very rare to find a show that has a cast where you feel like these people were specifically the characters were specifically made for these people.
Right.
And I felt that not only about Jessica Jones, but I also felt that about Kilgrave. David Tennant did a phenomenal job.
Can we talk about David Tennant as Kilgrave?
Oh my God!
I'm familiar with the character a bit. I'm not going to sit here and make myself seem like I'm a Jessica Jones expert. I'm not. But I did research and I've read some excerpts. Kilgrave is the epitome of a creepy dick. The epitome of a creepy. There is no other way I could describe it. He is the epitome of a creepy dick.
A total creep.
And from everything I've seen David play, it's always usually the good guy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him step out of that good guy persona.
Even when he was playing the Doctor,
which I'm a big Doctor Who fan.
I'm a convert. Even when he was the angry Doctor, and you saw it, like he was a good guy, but even when you saw the anger in him, it wasn't as I guess goosebumping creep, because especially because he's always played, like Poetry said, the nice guy or the good guy. And then here he comes, and I've always given David Tennant. I know that he's a phenomenal actor. He's great. I haven't seen him do anything that I was like, I don't know if he should have done that. Everything he really owns the character. And with Kilgrave, with him being a villain, whether low level or not, he took that character and he owned it.
He really
He owned it, and I'm like, oh my god, he's such a creep. Like, he does such a great job at owning and really bringing that character to life.
There's one scene that I just play back in my head, and this shows me that he's able to make any role his own.
Yeah.
When he played in Doctor Who as the Doctor, there was a scene where he's behind like the little office cubicle, and he raises up and he's smiling. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then if you watch Jessica Jones, this is not a big spoiler, so like I said, he's when he's in the police station, and he kind of raises
up,
and I instantly went back to that, but it's completely different. It's still him. It's still very him.
Yeah.
But it's completely different, and it's just. He's an amazing actor.
And he still brought his wit to it.
Yes.
His wit, even though his character is creepy and it's just like, oh my gosh, he's the creepiest of the creeps. He still brought that sarcasm and humor. And when he got angry, it was scary.
Yeah, because I don't think we've only seen him angry in Doctor Who maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, but when he got angry as Kilgrave, it was scary.
Chilling.
It was very chilling.
Very chilling.
Yeah.
He made you believe it. So
agreed.
He did a great job. This whole cast did a great job. The only cons that I have for this series, and then this isn't a con. This is definitely not kid appropriate.
Not at all.
This is not something that you can just watch with the kids.
No.
Don't be fooled by the Marvel sign. It's not appropriate for kids.
Marvel logo should not equal. Oh, let's watch this with the kids. No. It's the same to be said with Daredevil, especially because these are non-censored and they're what are they? I think they're rated like TVMA because of the sexual content within them.
Daredevil doesn't have as much sexual content.
Yeah,
Jessica Jones is sex. It is sex. Let me just say that it is sex. There is a lot of sex. Like the first 2 or 3 episodes is just sex.
Yes, we were both like, wow, there's a lot of sex going on in this series right now. But it's it's Netflix,
yeah.
so there aren't too many censors. There's not much censoring going on. There's a lot of cursing, a lot of sex, a lot of sex.
But the only con I can think of is, at least for me personally, with this series is it starts off slow. But it's kind of be expected because that's how Daredevil started off. Daredevil started off slow as well. But it definitely starts off slow. So don't.
It does start off slow, but it's not meaningless slowness.
Right.
It's telling you.
It's the build up.
It's the build up. It's the story. It's explaining the background, especially because a lot of us are not familiar with Jessica Jones. So they're actually doing you a favor by actually going slow and telling you the background and the story of who she is and what she is and how things happened.
Yeah. I can't think of any other cons. What about you?
For me, there were points in this story that could be a little bit depressing. It's dark. It can get really dark, and it can sometimes feel slightly depressing. But
that kind of goes back to kind of knowing the backstory of Jessica Jones. This is not your peachy keen roses and puppy dog tails series.
No, there's a lot of darkness.
This is a lot of darkness. It's a lot of psychology up in there. It's deep.
And it's gory. It can get very gory.
It can definitely get gory.
It can get very gory. Yeah. So, if you're not really into a whole lot of blood and guts, there's parts that even I had to be like, okay, I can't look.
It's not something to watch while you're eating.
No, not at all. This is something that you may want to watch when you're just kind of hanging out and not really eating anything, because there's a lot of scenes where it can get a bit much. But it can be a little bit heart-wrenching at times too, especially because of the story. When you start feeling kind of where she's coming from,
The closer you get to the end of the season, the more
you become
invested
involved.
you are. Yeah,
Yeah.
invested you are into it. It's like you're really into it. Like we were watching it, and we were started watching it at like maybe midnight. I didn't go to sleep till like 3. I was that invested into it because at
Yeah.
that point it was like I have to know what happens
Yeah.
next, and that doesn't happen often. So we're starting something on Hangout. 1 being don't watch it if they paid you, and 5 being it's the best thing since sliced bread and Betty White, and of course the scale goes in between. What would you give Jessica Jones on that scale?
What was the low one? 1.
1, I wouldn't watch it if they pay me.
And 10?
Not 10. I was saying 5.
Oh, 5. 1 and
5
5.
being it's the best thing since sliced bread and Betty White, since Betty White was out before sliced bread.
That's right. She was out before sliced bread. I would give it. I would give it a 5.
Wow, starting off big already.
Yeah, I would give it a 5 because of the storyline. There aren't enough cons to make me feel like it's worthy of a 4. I feel like the cons that come with it are kind of to be expected because of what they're trying to do.
Right. I will give it a 5 with an asterisk, and here's why I'm saying with an asterisk for me. At this point, it's where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Minus what I expected from the season finale. The season finale, I didn't expect it. I need to see where it goes. It has the potential to stay a 5, but a lot of the stuff that they're doing in the series, I want to see if they can continue it into the next series after the season finale. If you've seen the season finale, you'll know why I'm saying that. But
I honestly, I don't think I need an asterisk for it. I think that the way that they've started, I think they're going to continue to do a good job of keeping the essence of the story and the characters, because sometimes we have series that they start off slow and they start off first season isn't the best, but once you get into the second, third, yada yada yada, they get progressively better. I don't think they've hit the peak, but I think that they've reached the point. Yeah, I think they're building, and they've reached a point where they can stay steady for at least for the next season.
Okay, so I'll take my asterisks away. I mean, I'm always looking forward to the future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely looking to the second season
Yeah.
of Jessica Jones when it does come out. But this is the Hangout. I'm glad everybody listened to us and watched us. I want to thank Dulce Diva for being a part of this. You're lovely. You're great. Check her out on blogtalkradio.com/TSOTS Productions, or go to www.tsotsproductions.com and listen to her every Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and on every other Sunday, the refresh, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Yes.
Of course, I am Poetry, CEO and owner of TSOTS Productions, and this has been another Hangout. Next week, I have another special guest that'll be on. This will be interesting because he wants to be a YouTube star. But
yes, he does.
You will see who it is next week. I wish everybody a good night. Deuces.
Bye, everyone.